Hi everyone and welcome to Season 5, Episode 2 of From Hope to Glory at Truro City with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So, they predicted that we were going to finish in about 20th position in the SkyBet League 2 this season. What do they know? Sitting top of the table after about, I don't know, 9 games or whatever it is. The world is a wonderful place, but I guarantee today, when we play Bolton, we're going to get a 0-0 draw, and you'll find out why when we look at the recent results. Welcome back to Truro City. If you're new here, let me know in the comments below. I'm always interested to see who my new viewers are, so let me know. Say hi in the comments below or whatever. If you're existing viewer and you're back for more, welcome back. It's fantastic to have you as well. I always really appreciate you all. This is an amazing journey that we're going on together with this series in the channel. So yeah, let me know if you're new. Let me know if you've been around for a while. But whatever it is, whichever version of that you are, if you haven't clicked that sub button, please do that and join my United City community and get up to date with the videos that are released on a daily basis through the week. So click that notification bell as well. Click the like button on this episode. That helps me get seen by lots of people, and it also helps me know you're invested in the channel. And that is all of the channel admin out the way, so let's get into Truro City for today. And it's been absolutely fantastic. 9 games in and we sit top of the table on 19 points after the 9 games, jointly with Southend. But the reason why in the intro I suggested that it's probably going to be a 0-0 draw today is these 2 columns here, the for and the against goals that we've scored this season. We have scored a bucket load of goals from our 4 strikers primarily, but supported by some other players as well. But we've also been shipping them as well quite badly compared to those around us. So because of that, in the first 9 games, of course, when I bring you in for an episode, it's going to be a dull 0-0, isn't it? But it's going to be a tricky game, and a dull 0-0 might not actually be the worst result in the world. We get Bolton today, who are one of the bigger sides in this division and predicted to do pretty well in the promotion chase, where we were predicted to finish about 20th. They're up in the first few of the division. Let's go and have a look at see where they are. 5th place they were predicted. When I first saw them before the transfer window happened, they were 1st in the division, but Rochdale have done some amazing stuff in the transfer market to get themselves top. We at one point were up in 18th position for our predicted finish, but we've dropped down to 20th since everybody else has now finished their transfer dealings. I'm actually really happy with my squad though. I think it's a decent enough one, whilst it could be improved. And it's showing that because we are currently sitting top of the table, which is ridiculous and nothing that I expected at all this season. I thought anywhere that we sit in mid-table or around that sort of area for most of this season, I was going to be happy with totally. And let's face it, with 9 games gone out of what's that, about a 44 game season, if we finish mid-table, I'm still happy with that for this season. But just at the moment, we're on a crest of a wave and we've got to keep it going as much as we can. So let's go and check in with all of the goal scoring exploits that we've had so far in the games that we've already played. So here we are on the schedule page looking at the recent fixtures, or as I like to call it, Striker Watch. And we can do that again this season so far. If we go through these games, you can see it's been a bit of a mixed bag. We have lost a couple of games in the league. We've also lost against Charlton in the Papa John's Trophy Southern Section Group H. That's a mouthful and a half, isn't it? But Charlton are in League 1, so that's kind of what we'd expect, really. But we only lost 1-0, decent. But if we go through these results and go on Striker Watch, it looks really fantastic for us. So let's go. We've got Hull, McJanet, Hull, McJanet, Ball, Neil, Ball, McJanet, Hull, Neil, Hull, all the way through that section of games, getting multiple goals in some of those games. And if we go quickly into the squad page and look at their statistics so far, The 4 strikers, we've got Charlie Ball, 7 in 4 starts and 4 sub-appearances. Neil, 2 goals in 4 starts and 1 sub-appearance. McJanet, 5 in 7 and 1. And Hull, 6 in 7 and 2. So it's been brilliant so far. Just like they were last season, they've started off really, really well this season. And it's been bagging us a bundle load of goals. But if you look through these fixtures, there's some very tight ones in there. 3-2, 3-2. There's a couple where we were a bit lucky to get the points, and that's why I'm thinking today might just be one of those days where it comes to a bit of a halt against a top level side in the league, and maybe it's just going to be a little bit more dull than we expect. But that's just the curse of an episode, isn't it? Anyway, 6-3 recently we beat Accrington Stanley, which was a phenomenal game to watch, complete end-to-end stuff. And again, we rode our luck occasionally, which is happening a bit. But we came out on the right end of it, and then we rotated the side a couple of times in this run as well, just to get everybody some game time, and still have managed to pull out some decent results. But that doesn't change what happens today, though. Today is all against Bolton, and they're going to be a tricky, tricky game. So we do have 1 or 2 slight injury issues. We've got Wright Phillips just coming back from a knock, but he should be okay for most of today's game. We'll probably change him out halfway through, maybe. But we've also got Silla, who's been out for a little while. He's still got a couple of days left, but he's been out for a couple of weeks. So a rotating option off the bench has not been available to us. And then Early, who really kind of isn't good enough for this particular level, but fills out the squad, he's also got a few injury issues at the moment as well. Other than that, though, everybody's getting a bit of game time and everybody's looking pretty sharp. The reason these numbers here on the average ratings are so high for some of these periphery players is because of the level of opponent that we've asked them to play against. If we just very, very quickly dip back into the schedule, you can see, for instance, we played Edinburgh City in the SPFL Trust Trophy, and we got a 4-0 win with a rotated side, and that boosted all of these average ratings. But it means that when you look at our first team, they don't look quite as impressive, but they're playing the trickier games. We do have 1 or 2 issues, though. We've got the likes of Kazoo at the moment, not on form at all, and is struggling a little bit in that central defensive area, and we have been shipping goals, as I say. So it's something to look out for. We have got the likes of Dan Bowery, but he's come in for a couple of games himself and not looked particularly good either, if I'm honest. It's the one area of this team so far this season that is kind of not working out. You can see all of our better players are the attacking ones. We've got a very attacking left fullback. We've got our right-sided midfielder in Wright Phillips, and the 2 strikers ably supported by Charlie Ball and Andrew Neil as well, all on very good high average ratings. And that's where our success is coming from so far this season. Long may it continue, but we might have to do something to reshape this central area just a little bit. Anyway, today we're going with our custom wide play because why wouldn't we? It's working for us primarily, and we're going with basically the starting lineup because, again, why wouldn't we? It's working for us. So that means for today's game against Bolton, we've got Roberts in goal, Rogers at right back, Devine at left back, Kazoo and Whitmore in central defence, Bucock and Williams in central midfield, Wright Phillips on the right, D'Souza on the left, and Hull and McJanet up top with a bench of Bowery, Fink, Dunlan, Walker, Knowles, Salam and Ball. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So in the team talk, I pumped my fists and I said, we've been on a good run lately. Go out there and continue to improve me and impress those watching. Impress me and improve on the performances that we've given so far. Keep the motivation high, keep the morale strong, and let's see what we can do. We're at home against Bolton today, so that helps us out a little bit. It's going to be a packed stadium compared to what we're used to because Bolton are one of the bigger teams in this division, and they have an attack attack from central midfield. They've worked it up to Yates in there as a striking position. They dropped it back again, working a very nice, slow-paced build-up. They've worked it to the left-hand side, dropped it again back onto the top of the box, really taking their time, working the space, working the ball, making us all move and reshape ourselves, which opens up some areas for them to exploit. And they have a very long shot, but a decent one that the goalkeeper has to get a strong hand on and parry it over the top. Then the corner comes in and a header at the near post goes over the top for them. And we can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief early on that their pressure didn't quite tell. We've got a left-hand side throw-in for ourselves. They win the header, but Whitmore picks it up in our defensive unit quite easily with not many people pushing him and pressurising him on the ball. So we've managed to get it out and then over the top to Hull, and he's through on goal. And there again, stuffed the 0-0 that I thought we were going to get. I was just being a little bit preemptive of what I thought this might be, but our strikers are lethal. Again, we move the ball really nicely. Williams eventually gets hold of it, puts the ball over the top. Hull takes the control of the ball really nicely, gets it down, and then pokes it underneath the oncoming goalkeeper. Is there an offside here? Please don't be. He's just onside, which is just onside. And so the goal is a good one, and it was a really good one. So after 20 minutes, we take a 1-0 lead, and it was our first attempt at goal even, let alone shots on target. It was our first attempt at goal even. And it's now a Bolton throw-in down the right-hand side, but Devine gets a good clearance on it, and McJanet works really hard to win the ball in the striking unit. And then we lose it a little bit by going too long into the area where McJanet had dropped deep from, and we lose the ball. But again, Bolton don't really seem to want it themselves. They keep giving it straight back to us, but now they've settled it again in midfield, and they're getting their short, sharp, quick passes working. They've worked some a space for themselves down this right-hand side of the penalty box. There's Jones on the overlap. Plenty of space. We drop off them too much, but then got a half chance of a clear in there. We don't make it count, and there was a couple of bites of the cherry, and then eventually they get the ball into the 6-yard box. There's a bit of a kerfuffle, and they get a goal from it. It's Jones here. We dropped too deep off of him. We get a good challenge in there on Riley, but they win the ball on that occasion by Jones again. He crosses the ball in, and Yates in the 6-yard box moves quicker than everybody else. He is onside because he's behind the ball, and they go 1-1 after 32 minutes, and we've just been reeled back in again a little bit after a positive start. And it has been a positive start. I'm very happy with the fact that we got a goal and we're competitive against the likes of Bolton. And we've got McJanet on the ball down the left-hand side, drops it back to Williams, who again drops it back to Devine. Cross comes in and they get it cleared and they get a chance for a very good counter-attack. There's 3 or 4 of them in a counter-attacking position here, but they make a poor choice, but Whitmore messes it up. Oh no, central defensively, this is the problem. I said it earlier in the episode when we were looking at the results and the fact that we let in so many goals. It's been Kazoo and Whitmore not playing well enough at the back, and again you've seen it there. The ball went through to a striker and Whitmore was in the perfect position to intercept it, and he just got caught, his feet got caught in the wrong position. The ball drifts past him, and at that point the striker's now through on goal and he makes no mistake. And we go in at half time, slightly disappointingly, at 2-1 down. And there's some frustration and nerves in the team even, and I can understand it because we played all right in bits. Now, Bolton had the better of the chances potentially, but I think we've messed ourselves up a little bit, and especially from Alex Whitmore at the back there, making that slight error in judgment in how to deal with that attacking play. But there we go. We're going to have to do something about it now. So what are we going to do? Let's think. We've been the better team. No, we haven't been. We've been unlucky. Yeah, true. I think we're going to go with show me something else in the second half. Put the onus on them to actually change things up a little bit. So we're going to point the finger and say, show me something else in the second half. Then we're going to go into the tactics, and we're just going to change the balance up from the mentality up from balance to positive, and just see if we can get on the front foot a little bit. We didn't create enough chances in that first half. So that's what we're going to do, and straight away we're going to go in and fire up the team in the second half as well, and just see if we can get a little something extra from them as this second half starts. But Bolton have won possession early in this second half, seconds in, and they've worked it down the left hand side. Cross comes in. Whitmore that time gets a good headed clearance, but Bolton win it again in midfield. They've got an extra man in there. Maybe that's something that we're going to have to counter it in a little while, and put an extra man in there just to cope with that a bit, because they are getting a few more chances than we are. But a corner kick for us comes in, and eventually Whitmore's going to pick up the loose ball again. He's taking his time to get on it though and do something with it, and he's drifted it all the way back to the goalkeeper. Could have been a little bit more proactive on that occasion, I think. We went long with the goalkeeper and lost out, but we win it in the right full-back area. Rogers gets a nice ball forward. It goes back and forth a bit, but Hull eventually finds it on the right side of the box. Cross comes in, and it's D'Souza with a fantastic strike, low on the ground, and that far post. And we go 2-2 after 48 minutes, 3 minutes into the second half. It was some good work down the right-hand side. Eventually, Hull runs the channel and gets on the ball, crosses it deep. McJanet heads it down for D'Souza to control it very nicely, and then pokes it past the goalkeeper for 2-2. And maybe we're not out of this game just yet. You can see that we are a little bit behind them in terms of chances created and possession of the ball, but it's what you do with it when you get it. And we've done pretty well, and Kazoo gets a yellow card to give away a free kick on the top of the penalty box, and the shot comes in from Nesbitt, but it's wide of the goal. I think we might have to take Kazoo off, to be honest. If they're showing that as a highlight, there might be something more to come from him if we don't. So we're going to go into the tactics. We're going to take Kazoo out and put Bowery in. You can see Kazoo was on a 6.2 again, not playing well enough this season. He's in danger of losing his position if we can get one of the other defenders playing well themselves, which we haven't been able to so far. The likes of Rogers on a bad rating. We've got a couple of 6.6s. Up front a little bit better, but not a lot. But that's what we're going to do for now. 65 minutes gone. We're just going to leave that one there for now, and then we're going to come back in about 10-15 minutes in the game time just to make a couple more changes. If we can get to sort of 75 minutes, then we'll make another one. We have. So we're going to pause it again. We're just going to go into the shouts before we do, and tee up the demand more shout for when we come back out of the tactics page. And then we're going to make a couple of changes. I want to make them slightly higher up the pitch, but we have got some problems in defence as well. So I am actually going to take out Rogers and put Fink in, just because we can't allow 6.2s in our starting lineup, really. They've got to have some consequence to them. And again, we've got one or two higher up the pitch as well. Bucock on a 6.5. We've got Tom Walker on the bench. What we're going to do is bring Walker on and then switch him and Williams over. Williams can play the slightly deeper role, and we'll just see how that works. It hasn't been quite as attacking as I'd like the changes to be, but you've sometimes just got to change where the issue lies, and it certainly lies in that defensive unit, defensive midfield, and that central defensive partnership not being good enough. Williams on the ball for us though. D'Souza down the left hand side has a shot at goal, but is very, very wide, and it was too narrow really, and he should have been attempting to cut it back or cross it in really. But with 84 minutes gone, we're still 2-2. Can we hold on for a draw? That would be good, or get something better with us. A free kick, Devine on the ball, short one to Walker. Williams and Walker combining well in midfield. There's the overlap for Devine into the box, and he gets a good effort. What happened there? The defender tried to clear the ball at the back post, but he put it straight at Aaron Hull, and it ricocheted into the back of the net, and we take a 3-2 lead after 86 minutes. Devine with a great run. Ward gets enough on the ball, and then Charles for Bolton boots the ball at Hull. and it goes in the back of the net. And I take back everything I said at the beginning of the episode for a 0-0 draw. We've had a 3-2 game again. Bucket loads of goals whenever Truro City show up. And mostly so far this season, we have ended up on the winning side of it. And again, we do today. So how can we make head or tail of this particular match? It was a completely chaotic one in bits. We came out with a really good win. Hull with 2 goals, one that he really didn't know much about, to be honest. We struggled a little bit in the latter part of the first half, but regathered ourselves in that second half to come back from 2-1 down and get a 3-2 win. In terms of the statistics for the match, you can see that Bolton had the best of it. They created more chances on goal. They created a better XG rating, the expected goals rating. They created a better pass completion and possession stat, but all of that doesn't matter if you do something better with what you've got than they do. And that's ultimately what we did. We got a 1.25 expected goals ratio and we scored 3 goals from it. So we went above and beyond in terms of our finishing. That last goal, of course, helps a lot because it wasn't really a chance for us, was it? It was gifted to us. You can see, though, we didn't create the same amount of chances that Bolton did. They had loads more than we did. We were very, very matched up to them in terms of the average positions and the heat map. If you could see behind my face here, you'd see that ours looks pretty much identical to theirs in terms of where we sat on the pitch, but the only difference is they had their extra man in midfield and we had the extra man up front. And it kind of worked out for us in the end. They had more of the action zones in midfield specifically, so that's always something that we've got to try and address, but that's not our style of play. We're working wide and trying to go round the outside rather than through the centre, as a lot of teams do. So that's a lot that we can learn there. And Aaron Hull with an 8.3 and 2 goals. Again, one of our strikers plays really well, and it's always the case. One of them is on form. So let's go through the shots at goal that we had ourselves. Not many of them. We had 3 goals, of course, all around the top area of the 6-yard box. So all pretty good chances created for them to have a go at. We had one off-target shot from D'Souza down the left-hand side where he's too narrow to shoot from where he did. So that was that one. We had one that was saved from, again, a narrow position. And then we had 2 blocked shots from a very good position in the centre of the penalty box as well. So the shooting, whilst we didn't create much, it wasn't too bad, was it? The 2 strikers that we had, specifically Hull, did very well. We'll look at our passes, because we always do, because it makes me giggle. The completed one. The intercepted one's not too bad at all today. A couple of long clearances, which is what you expect. We did lose it occasionally where we shouldn't, that I noticed. Occasionally we went too long too quickly. It's not really the way we're set up to play. And then we had one blocked pass down on the right-hand side. We had 56 unsuccessful ones. We negate all of these ones, clearing the lines and the throw-ins down the right and left-hand side. So it's only sort of this section that I'm that bothered by, and that's not too many, really. Out of play, we did put a couple out looking for the wide men to overlap. We had a couple of really good key crosses in from this right-hand side, specifically from Hull and from Wright Phillips down the right, and these where our chances came from primarily. So we worked very well down that right-hand side to create those chances. But we'd be remiss, really, if we don't go and look at the defensive side of the game, because we have actually struggled this season a bit. So we won some tackles in the fullback positions. We lost a tackle up here in Williams. That's okay. We had no key tackles, though. Nobody in central defence really dominating that particular area. It's very disappointing that both Kazoo and Whitmore are struggling so much this season. What else can we learn from in terms of mistakes? Let's see if there were any mistakes. There weren't. See, this is the confusing thing about this game sometimes, isn't it? You get a 6.2 average rating from pretty much half your defence. Yeah, it's very difficult to find out why, other than watching that one moment with Whitmore where he struggled to clear that ball and got caught out for a goal. But why is Kazoo struggling so much? That's the thing. If we go and have a look at his performance, how do we do this? there's nothing to see there, is there? Oh, it's his shots. That's what we're looking at. We need to look at tackles. So he did nothing in terms of tackling today. Did he do anything in terms of heading? Aerial challenges. Let's look for Kazu. Headers 1. Headers lost was 2. He's not doing enough, is he? That's the problem. I'm not 100% sure why. We're going to have to think about that a little bit. How we can boost the defensive display. How we might have to reshape the side a little bit. Do we need to give them another person in midfield to get more defensive cover? But then we lose one of our 2 strikers. Maybe we're just going to have to play the whole season trying to outscore the opposition and just go with it. We'll have to see. But what have you got as a thought on that? How would you structure this slightly differently to support the defensive unit a little bit better? Or would you just not bother and just play as we are and hope that 90% of the time we just outscore the opposition? It's all interesting stuff, though. It's all interesting tactical things to figure out as we move this team forward. But today, it really worked out for us, and we won 3 points against Bolton. So obviously after a win like that, we remain top of the table and we're now clear by 1 point to Stevenage, who sit in 2nd place. And so that's a really good sign that we're now out in front on our own. It doesn't mean that I expect to stay here all season. It really doesn't. But if we could potentially finish anywhere in this top 7, that would be an amazing season, getting us into at least a playoff position. If we finished anywhere 10th and above, though, I think I'd have to be happy with that with the first season in this particular division. However well we've started, there might be a crash at some point, and we've seen again today that some of the games that we've played have been very, very tight in terms of lots of goals scored, and we've come on the right side of them. But one day we might not. We'll have to wait and see. But so far, it's been fantastic. So let's go into the schedule page and figure out what's coming up for next episode. Lots of great goals in there. I love seeing how many goals we've scored so far. But we're going to come back at the end of October and we're going to play Bolton Albion at home in the league. We've got a couple of games in the cup at this point that come around that we're in so many competitions. It's utter madness, to be honest, with the amount of games that we're going to have to play between now and the end of the season, depending on how well we go in all of these competitions, of course. I mean, we might just go out in the first round for most, but we're in a group stage in the Papa John's Trophy with some difficult sides, it must be said. So it's a real backlog of fixtures we're going to have later in the season, potentially. But anyway, what did I come here for? Oh, that's what I was going to say. Sometimes my mind just goes to mush. We're in so many different trophies, but what it does mean is as we go through the month of October, November specifically, lots of things get rearranged as these cup competitions go through and if we get through a couple of rounds in it. So we're going to come back for Bolton Albion, as I say, but potentially if that one gets shifted, we'll play whatever league match is around the end of October, early November, whichever one falls in that kind of spot. So that's what we're going to come back for. Today, though, we get to celebrate a slightly unlikely win, if I'm honest. I wasn't sure what to expect in this division. So far, it's been absolutely goals galore and completely barking mad, if I'm honest. And today we had a fantastic 3-point gain against Bolton Wanderers. So there we go. That's going to do it for today. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Hope you loved this particular episode. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel and keeping up to date with the videos that I release. Click that notification bell that actually tells you when things are released, and that keeps you up to date with the series as we move forward. There's loads of ways to join the United City community these days through Twitter and Discord, and you can support the channel through Patreon and merchandise store. It's all linked in the description below, so go and check all of that out. Click the like button on this episode. Helps the channel to grow. Can't express that enough. You've got to click the like button if you enjoyed this episode, because that makes me feel as though you're connected to the content and it gets more eyes on the product. So that's good. So once you've done all of that stuff, I'll give you 2 seconds to go and do it. Thank you. Well done. You've done it. I really appreciate it. So we can wrap it up now. So thank you for joining me today. Once you've done all of those amazing things, I hope you take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.